Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day to all of you coming straight from Florida, East Coast. Just want to throw out there right now, everybody on the East Coast that's going through those hurricanes, or that Hurricane Florence, I think it is. Just be careful. Be careful. Stay alert. If you got to leave, leave. It's not the end of the world. Do what you have to do to keep yourself safe, because what matters most is life and being able to be here and enjoy it to the fullest. And, can't do that if you're caught up in a hurricane. So like I've said before, I've had an experience or two with the hurricanes growing up in Southeast Louisiana, but just sending well wishes and praying for your safety, hoping everything works out and it's not too bad as we move along here. But anyway, let's get right into it. And so I don't even know how to describe it. And I'm going to start with a bit of a story here, because this will kind of put you into the frame of mind of where I am. So just like I said, I grew up in Southeast Louisiana, New Orleans for the most part. And I was an avid football fan for as long as I could remember. I mean, to be honest with you, it was like one of the first things I ever fell in love with that I just needed. It was like the urge was so great and so powerful that it was like a hungry lion needing raw meat. That's how intense that urge was. That's how intense. That's how intense I wanted it. For lack of a better words, that's how intense that I wanted to be the best. And so as I got a bit older, 4 and 5, my brothers were a few years older than me, and they were awesome because especially my brother Mike had a cannon for an arm. I think this guy was like throwing 95 mile an hour pitches at like 14 or something crazy. But anyway, he would throw the ball at me ridiculously hard. And as you would think about a 4, 5, or 6-year-old, it would just beat up my chest left and right. I mean, just literally cave in. I had so many bruises until I finally realized how to catch with my hands, right? So once I did that one time, I got hungry. I got hungry for more. I wanted to be the best at it. So I would literally have my brother Mike, when he was there, throw me thousands of balls. Maybe not thousands of balls in a day, but like thousands of balls over the course of a month. I just wanted to catch footballs. I wanted to catch footballs. Every single Christmas present was a football, right? Every single Christmas present was a football. And keep in mind, we're thinking, I don't know the age exactly, but we're thinking between 5 and 7. So I was a really, really young kid. And so, but I had gotten so good that I was able at that point to play with the older kids. And so this was fun for me. This was exciting. This was like, wow, I want to be even better. And then I started to realize I could keep up with the older kids, but then after some time, I could not only keep up with them, I could beat the older kids. And you can imagine the type of confidence you get when you can excel and succeed at something so fast and so greatly. To be honest with you, if you would have asked me at that time, if I could go back in time and ask, 6, 7-year-old Sean, what do you want to be when you grow up? I knew for sure. It's not a question of me wanting to be it. I'm going to be an NFL star, because that's all I knew. That's all I desired. And my mom used to joke that I was so extreme. I was so extreme in doing that. And so, anywho, stay with me. It got to a place of, as I got older, I got better. And the reason I got better, and this is important for us as actors, the reason I got so much better than the people that I was playing with, the people that I was around, was that I was so dedicated to watching football in a way, not as a fan, but I was studying it. I was studying the guys that were excelling at that time, like Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders and, Joe Montana and all these greats. I was studying their demeanors. I was studying who they were. And so I would do that and subconsciously pick up things that the professionals were doing. And then I would take that to the playground. I take that to the playground and immediately see the difference between me and then everybody else that I was playing with. So with confidence came a bit of a swagger, actually a lot of swagger. And we didn't even really know what swagger was at that time, but that's definitely what it was. And as I mentioned, I was a big fan of Deion Sanders because here's the thing about prime time as they call him. Here was an African-American man who was unapologetically himself in every sense of the word. And he had a blast doing it. He had so much fun doing it with so much confidence because he knew how great he was. And so me, being a big fan, I picked that up. And I tell you, football went from fun to like extremely out of control fun, to the point where I would get chastised for high stepping in my flag football games when I was playing flag football when I wasn't playing tackle. I would get spit at when I was playing tackle by other parents because I was having so much fun and it looked like I was taunting their kids, but I really wasn't. It was just me having fun, me rejoicing in how confident I was in what I could do. And so you can imagine having that much confidence inside, in your being, knowing without a doubt that this is who you are, this is what you're going to do. And then here's what happened. Here's where the trouble came in. You see, you get around adults that don't necessarily match that level of confidence, or you're so confident it makes them embarrassed that you start to dim your light a bit. And then you dim it a little bit more. And so I can remember my mom, bless her heart, put me in Catholic schools. And oftentimes, I was one of the few minorities in my class. So I liked the flashy. I liked the bright. I like the in-your-face dance, have a good time, laugh, and cut up. I love that. I still love that to this day. But the people around me didn't take it so good. They thought it was being a show-off. They thought it was trying to make yourself look better than everyone else. Well, I was like, I didn't have to do that because, my work ethic proves that I'm doing that. So I don't know what you mean there. And, I'm saying this as a kid, but it's like what started to happen is they started to make me dim my light. They started to make me feel bad about what was emerging out of my own being at that age. Like this was who I was. This was a part of my soul. This was my spirit. This was me. And so even as a child, when you get to be yourself, it can make people feel uncomfortable. It can make people feel upset. It can make people feel like they're unable, so to speak, to embrace what you are, to embrace who you are. And so they dim your light. And then as I got older, more and more people started to dim my light because that was considered unacceptable. And then they dim my light some more. And before you know it, you dim it so much, it becomes fear. And I'm running around on the football field fearful that I'm going to get hurt, fearful that somebody's going to think of me in some kind of way, fearful that somebody's going to not approve of what I'm doing. And it sets you back. It sets you back in such a place to where you start to live in that fear. I'm going to be right back with part 2 of this. Hang on for just a bit.